What's good, everybody? Yo, man, we back in this mud with some more Wrestlelamia, dog, bro. This one I really wanted to see because we all know Vince Diddy. Vince Diddy is the issue. So we gonna see who actually stood up to bro, who actually declined whatever crazy storylines he was trying to do. But this man was trying to impregnate his own daughter per storyline. Hey man, we got a freakazoid on our hands. We need this man under wraps. Not free at all. I don't know how this man is free, able to watch basketball games and football games and whatnot, able to just be out, show his face, and be cool. We got a mass maniac on the loose kid. Who ended the tyranny of the final boss, Vince Diddy McMahon? Let's see, bro.
Vince McMahon is notoriously one of the...
Okay, this is a crazy... I'm already scared. Alright? I love y'all, man. Thank you for joining me on this journey, bro. I hope all y'all have been doing well, bro. I've been doing excellent. You know what I'm saying? I got my food right here. Hope y'all got y'all food. Shoot, something rolled up, something pulled up. Hey, whatever it is, bro. Sit back, relax, be comfortable. Let's do this thing, man. I love y'all, man. I love y'all. God dang it. God damn it. Shit. Anyways.
Vince McMahon is notoriously one of the scariest individuals in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
McMahon is truly an...
Oh, what? Wait a minute.
Past and present have spoken out about how daunting interactions with McMahon can be. The majority of wrestlers have allowed McMahon to micromanage them, but certain wrestlers have shown no intimidation when it comes to McMahon and have stood up for what they believe is right.
Sean.
Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers.
I wouldn't say he stood up for what was right. He just was just a douche and just knew that Vince, like, he was the golden child of the company. Like, after Undertaker, it was Shawn. So whatever Shawn wanted, Vince was gonna make happen, bro. Even if it was screwing over somebody else. At the top of the company, Bret Hart at that time, didn't matter. As long as Shawn was cool, hey, let's get it. Let's make it happen. That's crazy.
Vince McMahon. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new channel, Wrestlelamia Shorts. Number 10, The Shield. After debuting in WWE in late 2012, The Shield were on an impressive run, but it was set to come to a halt at the 2013 Elimination Chamber event. Initial creative plans called for The Shield to lose a 6-man tag match against John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus, and the planned finish was to see Cena stand tall. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins knew that this was the wrong finish. The finish wouldn't have benefited anyone and would have ultimately buried The Shield just before WrestleMania 29. It's been well documented how The Shield reacted to these creative plans as the decorated trio decided to boldly take a visit to Vince McMahon's office and they stood up to the creative direction WWE were taking. The Shield logically explained why the creative decision didn't work, and amazingly, McMahon actually listened to what the trio had to say.
Probably because they was making them crazy money.
Even changed the finish. The Shield would win the 6-man tag matchup and they would remain unbeaten for the next several months on WWE television. Number 9. The Godfather. In 1999, The Godfather was struggling to find a place on the card. As a result, he went to Vince McMahon to vent his frustrations. McMahon stated that it's sometimes beneficial to be off TV, but Godfather clapped back at McMahon as he questioned what McMahon was saying.
Yeah, what?
As a result, the former Intercontinental Champion was booked in a 1-minute squash on TV as a clear punishment for standing up to the boss.
And of course, it's always Triple H, bro. This man hates black people, bro.
Little Champion was booked in a 1-minute squash on TV as a clear punishment for standing up to the boss. He offered some insight into the stories on with Briscoe and Bradshaw.
So I go under.
He did the same thing to Booker T, bro. That's OG, bro. That's OG.
I explained my side to Vince. He goes, you know, Charles, sometimes it's better not to be on TV than it is to be on TV. But I don't hear that. I don't hear that. I keep going. No, well, I found that out. Once again, Charles, sometimes it's better not to be on TV than it is to be on TV. Don't want to hear it. Okay, all right, I'll put you on TV. You want me on TV? I'll put you on TV. So the new card comes up, right? Godfather, Triple H, no hose, 1 minute.
No hose, 1 minute is crazy. This is a crazy Yeah, Vince Diddy, bro. He's back at it again. Back at it again. Freak timing. Freak
Number 8,
timing,
Rob
bro.
Van Dam.
No,
Rob
sir.
Van Dam has always been a wrestler who's been willing to go against the norm and remove himself from situations that he feels uncomfortable in.
Rob is one of the greatest fucking professional wrestlers ever, bro. Excuse my French, dog. The fact that he actually stood up to Vince too makes this even better, bro. He's not even from WWE originally. He's from in the Indies and then went to ECW. That's how he even got the name. But he was already doing all of this stuff before that. He came to WWE. They completely ruined his stock, bro. Same thing with Shinsuke. They did the same thing with Rob, bro. They just and I feel like it was because of that reason, because he came from a different brand, a different promotion, different leagues, like different wrestling styles, different promo styles. But that's unfair. Like, you're supposed to just be born as a wrestler and then just WWE only. That's the only option. What? Like, bro, you have a whole freaking Jean-Claude Van Damme right here, literally, but for the wrestling world, and you won't use him. And if you do, he's losing everything. That makes no sense.
In the 2000s, Vince McMahon wanted RVD to attend the annual tribute to the Trvll show in Iraq, but RVD told McMahon that he had no plans of going to the event. On his podcast, this is what the former WWE champion had to say about the infamous Act of Defiance. I was stewing about it, and other wrestlers are coming up to me saying, "Man, Rob, I respect you for saying no. Like, I don't want to go either, but I can't say no."
Oh, bro, I was always wondering, like, what was this whole tribute to the troops BS thing, bro? Like, the only person that this even benefited was John Cena. Who cared about this? Respectfully, bro. Like, come on, nobody was here for this. The freaking audience never cared for it. We didn't care for it. The wrestlers surely didn't care for it. What were we doing? It was just a money grab. You gonna try to bring him into it?
Other wrestlers are coming up to me saying,
"Send John, let him salute all 3 hours."
I don't want to go either, but I can't say no.
For this.
I'm not RVD, dude. Why do I always hear that? Like, there's something in my contract that says I can get no heat. You know what I mean? I just have principles, and I'm not going to be a puppet, and you know, that works for and against me. But I'm here saying that Christmas break, I'll be in California, wherever the hell I lived at the time. I guess that was it. Anyway, it was a subject, like, are they not going to let you go? I was getting mad. What do you mean, let me not go?
Yeah,
like
what?
I'm a prisoner.
Let me?
According to the former head of talent relations for WWE, Jim Ross, on his podcast, RVD saying no to the trip resulted in him receiving substantial backstage heat. Of course, there was backstage heat. Vince looked at it as an unpatriotic act, more or less. And look, I admire...
This is the same dude that was sitting here, has countless racial storylines, has countless Diddy acts, has countless scenarios of him sitting here abusing men and women. Diddy-fied. If you don't do what he want, you ain't gonna get that spot you need. You ain't gonna get that contract you want. That's unpatriotic. Having to sell yourself to Vince McMahon is unpatriotic.
And I always have Vince McMahon's patriotism, and the United States should love him because he pays a load of taxes, and I know he's legit about his love of Dr. Martin Luther King. Amen to that. But you know, sometimes you can take this stuff too far. Here's the deal. Here's how I would have addressed that. Vince, he doesn't want to go. He's not comfortable going. Number 7, Mark Henry. Back in 2011, a prank on Mark Henry backfired in a major way.
I think he talked about this, bruh.
Resulted in Henry confronting Vince McMahon and almost quitting on the spot. Henry was supposed to wrestle a dark match against Sin Cara, but Cara never appeared for the match.
Oh crap, no.
This left Henry utterly embarrassed. According to Henry during an interview...
What's up with Sin Cara, bro? Dang, I never heard of that. That's wild.
Quitting on the spot.
I know he be messing up spots, like botching all the time, but just not showing up at all.
Henry was supposed to wrestle a dark match against Sin Cara, but Cara never appeared for the match.
Like,
this left Henry utterly embarrassed. According to Henry during an interview with Chris Van Vliet, Henry expressed why the incident made him angry, and the Hall of Famer had a completely valid argument. I felt disrespected. I felt trivialized. Out of all the work that I did, like all the sacrifices, you people say, oh, you got paid a lot of money. You know what, man? I didn't get paid enough money to dummy down my pride and respect as man. Ain't no price for that. And when that happened, I felt like, okay, I'm expendable. I'm useless to them. They don't respect me. Being that I'm a man and I was able to say my piece to Vince and everybody involved, like, just know who I am, because that won't ever happen again. If it does, like, us talking will not be an option. Henry went on to state that he used the anger from the incident to fuel the acclaimed Hall of Pain character, which would arguably end up being Henry's most successful and celebrated run in WWE.
Yeah, Mark.
Number 6,
Him
Mick
and Booker
Foley.
T, bro.
Mick Foley and Vince McMahon have always had an interesting relationship behind the scenes, and at one point during Foley's stint as a commentator on SmackDown, Foley had enough of McMahon's poor behavior and management, and this ultimately led to him exiting WWE in favor of TNA. Foley and McMahon would embark in a heated confrontation due to Foley giving his notice to the company, which Foley detailed on his podcast.
I officially gave the notice. I made it really clear that if that was part of the job, I didn't want any part of it. And, Vince, he tried to, this is where I'm hesitant because, Vince has, he's, imagine going through a tough time. I tried to text him for his birthday, and that's the WWE number, so it's not working anymore. But I said, Vince, what's the end game here? If I work hard at this for 10 years and I get as good as I can possibly be, you'll treat me the way you treat JR? And then he gets about this close. He goes, you think I've been bad to him? I said, I think you've made his life a lot more difficult than it needed to be.
Same with Michael
Number
Cole.
5,
bro, he bullied the commentators, bro. Like, if y'all, I'm gonna do some videos on that, like covering that too, bro. If y'all actually look at Vince's, like when Vince was in charge of the company, bro, and you see the change now that Triple H is in charge, bro. Like, the product is so, I don't want to say loose now, but it's a lot more like freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like on TV, like you can say belt, you can say championship title, like you could say things like that now. Like just normal words, you can say that now. Commentators don't have to worry about every 2 seconds hearing Vince in their head say, wow, you effing, you beep, 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 you stupid, you mother... Like, bro, no one has time for any of that. So I'm supposed to read all this off, pay attention to what's going on in the action, know the ads, know the cue placements, ad placements, all this kind of stuff. And here you continuously yelling in my ear to say stupid things that the crowd doesn't want to hear, that sounds forced on everybody's ears. Like, come on, bro. The second that he was gone, bro, now Michael Cole is actually, bro, he's on tables dancing and yeeting with Jey Uso. Like, that would never happen. It would never happen in Vince's reign, bro. Ever,
even
bro.
though Chris Jericho is an AEW talent, he's still extremely close with Vince McMahon, with Jericho even going on record to say that he could text McMahon at any time of the day and he would be guaranteed a reply. The relationship between the two hasn't always been great, however, as according to Jericho, the two had an argument that was so severe that Jericho wanted to punch McMahon in the face. The story goes that when Jericho was picked to host the show Downfall,
fighting everybody,
private,
women.
as did WWE or McMahon
matter.
interfering.
You
However, when Jericho was on the cover of The Hollywood Reporter, McMahon was furious that Jericho didn't tell him. According to Jericho, McMahon insisted that he wasn't allowing Jericho to host the show, and the two had a verbal back and forth, which included McMahon claiming that Jericho was fired. The two would eventually work things out, and Jericho was allowed to host the show with McMahon's blessing. Number 4, Mustafa.
So you had to get McMahon's blessing to feed yourself and your family outside of this stupid WWE BS that he probably wasn't even treating you right or using you in at all. Fuck out of here, bro. Nah.
It's not always main event talent that have had the courage to stand up to Vince McMahon.
Thank you, Mustafa.
And
This dude here is a
Ali
goat
earned
too.
a ton of respect from his peers and fans when he stood up for himself in an argument with McMahon.
One of the best
During the
wrestlers alive
development
right now.
stages of Ali's infamous New American persona, McMahon pitted something to Ali that Ali would have never in a million years be comfortable in doing. His refusal led to a confrontation between himself and McMahon. McMahon was so furious with Ali's act of defiance that he was pulled from WWE TV indefinitely.
That's why he got pulled off. And they told us that he was hurt. And then this is why he sent that message. I won't be able to deliver this while I'm working in WWE. I have a message that's much bigger than my dreams of pro. Yeah, bro.
The argument
like his whole thing is breaking
requested
down
his
like racial barriers and like actual economic and injustices and like moral issues. Like he's using the wrestling to tell a much bigger story, not just to get famous off of and make money. You know what I'm saying? He's using that not for glory, but to actually inspire people that look like him to not just think that because you don't see people that look like you or see a lot of representation of successful people in your field or in your culture, that don't mean that ain't that blood. That don't mean that that's not what's the actual case, bro. Like, son, Mustafa is freaking goated, bro. Like his run in WWE, like the fact that he was able to make so much out of so little given to him constantly, bro. Dog, now he's in TNA where he's actually loved, working in the indies, putting on great matches with everybody, bro. Keep doing your thing, Mustafa, bro. Please keep cooking.
WWE release,
this dude
which
is
at
awesome.
the time was outright rejected by WWE.
That's amazing.
Number 3, Nails.
Who the heck is this?
Nails had one of the most controversial firings of all time, as he was fired for literally assaulting Vince McMahon.
Gordon Ramsay?
In late 1992, Nails confronted McMahon in his office over pay dispute,
What
and according to
is
Bret
this?
Hart, Nails cornered McMahon in his office, screamed at him for over 15 minutes. It was believed that this verbal tirade escalated into Nails knocking McMahon over in his chair and choking him. Hart offers some more
I ain't gonna lie, this picture funny.
It escalated into Nails knocking McMahon over
Who did this, bro? Who did
in his
this,
chair
bro?
and choking him. Hart offers
Yo,
some more insight
man.
into the crazy incident in his autobiography. Kevin Nails cornered Vince McMahon in his
Oh
office
my
and screamed at him for 15 minutes about all the lies he'd been told. His yelling got so loud
That's
I got
funny.
goosebumps up my back as I listened from down the hall. Suddenly there was a loud crash. Nails had knocked Vince over his chair, choking him violently until Lance, Slaughter, and a swarm of agents teamed up to pull him off. Nails walked out and immediately called the police and accused Vince of making a sexual advance toward him. Vince was charged of sexual assault, and the charges were dropped soon after. Some of the boys actually admired Nails for snatching Vince while covering his tracks to not get charged himself. The last thing Vince wanted was another scandal. Number 2. Brock Lesnar. Now, the WrestleMania 34 main event was met with widespread criticism from fans and critics alike. The main event saw Brock Lesnar collide with Roman Reigns for the Universal title, and there was no demand to see the matchup, especially in the main event slot of the biggest show of the year. Due to fan resentment towards the match, the live crowd turned on both men as they booed and chanted for other wrestlers that weren't even in the match. Lesnar was absolutely livid with the response to the matchup, and when he got backstage, he threw his title directly at Vince McMahon.
Dumped it on Vince, bro. That moment's still
argument
funny.
between the two took place. Whilst the argument was said to be intense, the two eventually made amends, and the two have managed to maintain a strong relationship over the past 5 years. And number 1, The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah, Undertaker.
There's no greater
He did
bond
this
in
all the
pro
time.
wrestling than the bond between the And number 1, The Undertaker. There's no greater bond in pro
Yeah, let's get the hell
wrestling
out of
than the
here.
bond
Let's wrap
between
this
The
up.
Undertaker and Vince
Let's wrap this
McMahon.
up.
The two
Let's
see
wrap
each
this
other as
up.
family, and it came as no
Wrap this
surprise
up,
when
bro.
McMahon
Wrap
inducted the
this
dead
up.
man into the WWE
Vince
Hall
Diddy
of
is showing
Fame
too
in
much.
2022.
Showing too much.
A friendship aside, the
What's
two have
going
butted
on,
heads
bro?
in the past, most notably in 1997, when the dead man felt utterly betrayed by McMahon. When the Montreal Screwjob went down, the dead man was bewildered.
That's what I was
Undertaker
talking
had a
about.
great
The
relationship
Screwjob on
with
Bret.
Bret Hart and had no idea that McMahon planned on screwing Hart out of the title.
Yeah,
The
he's
Undertaker
like,
wanted answers, and he
kinda.
reportedly confronted McMahon and demanded to know what on earth McMahon was thinking.
You telling me Undertaker's right hand guy didn't know? Come on, bro.
According to Hart during an interview with Sports
I'm not
Illustrated,
believing that.
the dead man was pounding on McMahon's door, insisting that McMahon explained himself to the locker room. I punched out Vince McMahon in the locker room. The only reason Vince was in the locker room was because of Taker. Undertaker pounded on Vince's door after the screw job. He said, "Get your ass down into that dressing room and explain yourself." And Vince wouldn't have listened to anybody else. I wrote Taker a letter when I left. Hart said, "You have
That's
to be the
crazy.
voice of the dressing room and the leader now that I'm gone." There you have it, folks. 10 WWE wrestlers who stood up to Vince McMahon.
Golly, dog.
Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time.
That boy Vince is an issue, bro. I'm so happy that this man is finally out of WWE, and the fact that he's trying to come back is crazy work to me, bro. We gotta keep this man away from the product, bro. Please, bro. We gotta do everything we can to keep this man away, bro. But hey, man, if y'all enjoyed that one, bro, let me know down. Like some other ones. that y'all want to see. I'm trying to get to these long form drinks, man. I'm really trying to actually watch the full episodes with y'all, like, you know, like Raw, SmackDown, Evolve, NXT, stuff like that. Man, if y'all want those, bro, let me know, bro. I would definitely watch, man, all them Jones, bro. Like, the long form is where it's at. I would definitely do that for y'all, man. So let me know, man. As always, stay joyful, stay prosperous. And I love y'all, man. Peace out, man. I love y'all.